What's up, good people? Hey, I thought it would be fun in this video to just go through my plan to build an 8-figure business. Fun story, this apartment where I live was the first apartment I ever lived in Austin, Texas. And I've moved like 8 times since then, but I moved back into this apartment building a year and a half ago or so. And then when I wanted to transfer to a smaller unit, I went to the leasing office and I was like, hey, I want to transfer. And they're like, well, the only apartment we have available is this one. And I was like, it's the same apartment that I started my podcast, built my first brand to $1 million. And it made me think like, all right, I became a millionaire in this apartment. What would it look like to cast the next sort of 8-figure vision? And so I mapped it out and I thought it would be fun to share it with you so you can see the person, the plan, and the whole process that I'm leading our team through building an 8-figure business. So I'll fire up the laptop here and we'll take a look at the plan. All right, so this is the plan to 8 figures. And first of all, we should just answer the question, why 8 figures? Like, why does it matter if we have a $10 million company or a $5 million company or a $30 million company or a $100 million company? The answer, because I want to. Because honestly, I have a chip on my shoulder. My last company was an 8-figure company. I haven't had an 8-figure company since then. My ego wants an 8-figure company. Also, I really like the idea of spitting off so much profit that you can just spoil your employees and your clients and your team members and stakeholders. And that sounds fun, right? So my target with Capitalism.com is to have a $25 million a year company. Our first sort of checkpoint for that is $1 million a month. So we're a mid 7-figure company, low 7-figure company. And I want to have $1 million months. That sounds really fun. I always thought that sounded fun when I started being an entrepreneur, and that's my goal. So the plan of mapping all of this out was really helpful for me to sort of create the guidelines of the game that I want to play. I did a podcast recently with Todd Herman. He coaches athletes and entrepreneurs, and he also coaches athletes who become entrepreneurs. And he said something really interesting in this podcast. He said that athletes who become entrepreneurs all say being an athlete was way easier. And it was way easier because when you're playing a sport, the rules are defined for you. And entrepreneurship doesn't have those rules. We're making up our own rules. So part of going through this process is me defining the rules of the game that I want to play, which is sort of obvious when you think about it. Like, we're in this game for freedom. We're in this game because we want to have a great time, because we want to have a great life. We want to create value. And yet we are often playing by other people's games. What worked for somebody else? What ads worked for somebody else? And I just don't want to do that anymore. I want to play my own game. And so the idea of writing my own rules sounds really fun. So in starting that vision for the company, it starts with the purpose, the mission, and then your goals from there. So our purpose as a company, Capitalism.com, is to create abundance through entrepreneurs. And the mission we're on as part of our purpose is to help create 1 million millionaires. And I don't care if it happens from free content. I don't care if it happens from products. That's the mission we're on. We're going to create 1 million millionaires. And the first goal is $1 million a month. And then it's $25 million a year. And I want to do that while having a great time. In fact, I'll just show you our objectives. I want to have fun while doing it. I want to build a responsive audience for whom I create a ton of value. I want to work with fewer but more enjoyable clients. I used to think I wanted to go really wide, really big. And lately, the idea of having fewer clients but more enjoyable clients sounds really good to me. I like the idea of there's 2 ways to work with us, free and expensive. And we'll give a ton of value away for free. I mean, people recognize me in airports literally all over the world because I help them with their business from free content. I freaking love that. Yeah, of course I want them to have bought our stuff, but if like somebody listened to our podcast and they built $1 million business or they read my book and paid $18 for it, I'm thrilled. So I want to work with fewer but more enjoyable clients. And I'm seeking to stay in my sweet spot. My sweet spot is creating content. Like, I love going live. I don't know why I don't go live every day on social media. Actually, the reason why I don't go live every day on social media is because if it's a have to, I won't do it. But if I just choose to, I'll actually really enjoy that. So I want to create content. I want to work with people I really love working with and just stay in my zone. And finally, operate from a place of abundance with team members, clients, customers, followers. I want to be in that zone of giving and effortlessly receiving, giving and receiving. I like that feeling. So those are kind of the objectives, the lens through which I am seeing things. And of course, all business should start with the who. Who do you help? Who are you in business to serve? Now, full disclosure, up until now, most of my marketing has been to new entrepreneurs who are en route to their first million. I wrote a book called 12 Months to 1 Million. Great frickin' book, by the way. Great frickin' book. And that's a lot of what my content and my focus is geared towards. And it's great. I mean, I love working with those people. I love working with people on getting to their first million. I have hundreds of success stories of people making their first million as a result of following our work, free or otherwise. But quite honestly, working with that demographic, it's the most work. It's the most work getting somebody to the first million. The first 100,000 is harder than the first million, and the first million is harder than 10 million. So that first million, especially when someone's just starting, that's the most work from my side. It has, just by nature, it has people who have the least amount of resources or the least amount of experience. And so they have the highest quit rate. They tend to bounce from opportunity to opportunity. That's not wrong. That's actually a healthy part of the process of finding what you're good at and finding where you're going to create value and how you're going to be an entrepreneur. That's part of the process. But it's also not where I shine the most. I like working with people who either are in motion or have made a decision. If you've made a decision that you want to build $1 million business and you want to use our model for doing it, I can totally help you. And if you are still waiting to be convinced that this is the right business for you, I'm probably not your guy. You should probably just follow free stuff on YouTube, and maybe I'll interview somebody that has a great model for you to follow. That's fine. I've still helped that person. So part of this is me coming to grips with that, coming to that realization of I'm not the best fit for everybody. I shouldn't try to be the best fit for everybody. And I kind of need to let go of that need to tell everybody that they can make $1 million, even though they can't. So I'm starting to narrow our focus as a company on more of our ideal clients. And our ideal clients they tend to be one of three people. They're content creators with at least 5,000 followers. I'll explain why on the next slide. It's product sellers or just entrepreneurs in general who have a long-term vision. Those who are like, hey, I need to make money right now, we're not your people. The people who are saying, hey, I want to commit 3 years to something or even 1 year to something, I so got you. Like if you're scrappy and young and hungry and you're like, I'll give this everything I got for a year, I so got you. But if you're like, I don't know how I'm going to make a payment next month and I need to make money and that's why I'm starting a business, probably not your guy. And then the third is brand builders, people who are already selling products and they're between $500,000 a year and $5 million a year. That tends to be my sweet spot for the people that I can help the most. And we do that inside of our program called the Capitalism Incubator. So that's our sweet spot. That's our person. It's entrepreneurs with big visions, entrepreneurs with a long-term mindset. I like to think about it as people who always knew that they wanted to be entrepreneurs, not people who are trying to make money next month, but people who always knew that they wanted to be an entrepreneur. That's my person. And I'm really good at helping them if they're content creators, if they have something moving, or if they just have a long-term vision. So the reason I bring up the content creator is in my fantasy, I love working with influencers. Like if you gave me a group of people that have at least 5,000 followers, more, even better. If you give me somebody with 50,000 active people on an email list, baby, I am so your guy. Like we can smash out a multi-million-dollar business. Or I love working with bloggers. Oh, bloggers are the best because they work so hard at creating this following and this community and this content, and they're usually monetizing it in ineffective ways. And I'm like, let's build a brand, baby. Let's build a business we can sell. Or the influencer who's got 500,000 followers on TikTok and they don't know how to monetize this. I do. And that's freaking fun. So I really like the positioning of going to internet marketers, people with email lists, influencers, content creators, podcasters, bloggers, social media influencers, like all those people. If you've got a following of at least 5,000 people and even a Facebook group or a YouTube channel, it's my opinion, you should have a 7-figure business that sells stuff. You should sell physical products. And the reason is because no one wants to buy your course. Nobody wants to buy another course. Most people don't even like making courses. I believe that selling a physical thing is the easiest way to monetize an audience. And it also builds goodwill with the following, with your followers, right? It doesn't take away goodwill. If you sell something physical to somebody, it's actually a way that they engage with you. It's a beautiful thing. So I think it's a great way to build goodwill with your following rather than taking from them. And it's the perfect way to have an add-on business to what you're already doing that you can scale and sell. It's the only business model that I know of where you can have a following, do something that your audience likes, and it be sellable. Great example of this is Dave Asprey. Had a following on a blog and a podcast, started a coffee company, and then sold a bunch of other stuff. And now he's a company that could probably be sold for $1 billion. I love that. It's so fun. And Dave still gets to be Dave, right? And say controversial things about conspiracy theories. He gets to do that. I like Dave, met Dave, appreciate Dave, love his work. Also says some interesting things on the internet. So do I. So I really like this positioning of going to content creators because it is just a layup for us. It's a layup for us to help them build $1 million business. So I wanted to toss that in because that's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I've sort of been resistant to it because I've been hung up on just selling to mass market entrepreneurs. And well, I really want to market to more content creators with audiences. And also, like if somebody doesn't have an audience, but they want to build one, like we have content for that too in our memberships. Like if you even build a Facebook group of 5,000 people, which you can do in a couple of months, following some strategies that we learned from our students and we pass them along to other members. We're doing a course on that later this year. Awesome. Come in, build the audience, then launch the brand. We got you. So we have 2 profit centers to help our ideal people build brands that they can sell and be millionaires, become millionaires and create more abundance. The first is called the 1%. This is our mentoring community. And up until recently, we've charged $297 a month for this. And we're changing that to an annual membership. We're changing that from $297 a month to $3,500 a year. That's what it is right now. Sometime this year, probably in Q2, we're going to change that to $5,800 a year. And eventually, I think we'll raise that up as high as $7,500, maybe even $10,000, maybe more from there. Who knows? I mean, we're helping people build $1 million businesses. We should price it accordingly. And what's interesting about this is if you think about how we are targeting people, this price hike makes sense. It makes total sense. In fact, $3,500 is way too low for the people that we're targeting now. If you're targeting mass market entrepreneurs who aren't making sales yet, yeah, you want to have a mass market, low ticket product. But if you want to have fewer customers that are more enjoyable to serve and get a higher percentage of results, you want to charge a premium for this. And charging a premium allows us to spend enough money on advertising. It allows us to hire the best people, do the best job, and go all in on serving that avatar of a person. So pretty soon we're going to raise that to $5,800 a year. And also, part of the reason why we're changing to annual is because we're adding in things like masterminds and bringing in real coaches who run 7-figure businesses and have had exits. So we don't want people quitting on their mastermind 3 months in. And that's what we're noticing about the current structure we have is somebody comes in, they're joined for 3 months, they get some value. But the real value comes in like month 6 when you've got progress and momentum, and then you meet that person or have that insight, or you come to an event or something like that, and everything opens up for you. And so we want that commitment of a year because that's how long it takes. That's what it requires for us to get the result for the client. So Inside the 1%, what's coming with this annual membership is a year-long curriculum of building $1 million business. For example, we have certain sprints inside of the curriculum. One is this class, this sprint called 6 Figures Per Month in 6 months. It's all about building and monetizing the audience so that you've got that launch list that you can sell products to. And then of course, we'll follow that up with how do you have a smashing 6-figure launch? And so we'll do a sprint about that. And then after you have a launch, how do you get to and maintain 100 sales a day? 100 sales a day at $30 a sale is $1 million business. So this curriculum will be designed, and we're building it out. We're kind of in part 2 of it right now, of helping someone overcome every challenge that they'll face en route to building $1 million business. And by the end of this year, we'll have a full year-long curriculum that we can put anybody through. And right now, the people who are in are getting it live. We're teaching it live. We're editing it live. We're doing live coaching calls with them, perfecting the model so that when it's evergreened in a year, people can go through it, and we're just updating it and editing it, making it better and faster, etc. There's also 2 mastermind calls a month with coaches who are building 7-figure businesses, like they have already done it, or they've had an exit. They've had a multi-million-dollar exit. We have 2 coaching calls a month where people can get access to one-on-one help. They can have a hot seat with me or somebody else who's leading a call. And we just added in this cool thing. When someone launches, we'll promote them to our email list and social media. Isn't that fun? Or on the podcast. Isn't that cool? I love the idea of leveraging my audience to give attention to the brands that are being built for my audience. That's just freaking fun. I freaking love that idea. So that is the first profit center. It's called the 1%. It's called the 1% because only 1% of people ever become millionaires, and we're helping 1 million people do that, become part of the 1%. The second profit center that we have is called the Capitalism Incubator. And this is where we're helping brand owners who are already in motion. They already have traction. We're helping them build brands they can scale and sell. And we use something called the owner's model. The owner's model frees you up to sit in the owner's seat, and you bring in partnerships with people who help grow the business. So the goal here is to build a sellable asset and help them move towards an 8-figure exit. And what that usually requires to start is a bigger vision. So an entrepreneur comes in, they want to make money, they want to make sales, they do it, and now they say, what the heck do I do now? So we recently just onboarded somebody into the group that he's going to be a smashing success. He has a $1.2 million a year business, but his problem previously was, how do I get to the first million? Now it's, I've exceeded what I thought I was going to do. Now I don't know what to do. So we'll work with him on casting a bigger vision and maybe raising capital. One of the things that makes it more predictable to have an 8-figure exit is if you're well capitalized. If you've got $500,000 in working capital to be able to hire great agencies, create partnerships with influencers, build infrastructure and a team, man, does that help. So we can help people do that. And our kind of, our like sales pitch, if you will, is as a result of going through the incubator, you'll add $1 million in value within 6 months of being a student. So in order to add $1 million in value, we got to make sure we have the right people, right? So that means that not everybody can join. That means that it has to be the right person that we believe we can add $1 million of value to. And that is the existing brand owner who's in motion or has other resources, and we bring them on board them, help them build a 7 or an 8-figure vision. We just onboarded somebody who is a new brand owner, but they have a vision, they know what they want to do, and they have experience in another business. Perfect. We'll help you build a 7-figure vision, raise the capital. We've added $1 million in value to that person's business. So those are our 2 product centers that fall into the overall vision. That's a duplicate slide. All right, so here's the numbers. Here's how it breaks down in order for us to get to 8 figures, $1 million a month. The first is at the future price point of $5,800. It's currently still $35,000, but at $5,800, we need to shoot to add 100 people in per month at that $5,800 price point. That puts us obviously at over $500,000 a month. And once we've accomplished that, once we can consistently maintain 100 people, I will probably raise the price so that we can focus on fewer people. And that's part of my desire to serve fewer people, but better, more focus. It also it frees up resources and capacity for us to give away more stuff for free. So I like the idea of having limits on how many people we serve so that the system doesn't break and we can ensure that everyone has a flawless experience coming in. So 100 sales a month, 5,800, that gets us halfway there, right? Inside of the incubator, in order to make up for that other half, we need to sell 20 of them at 24,000 to make another $500,000 a month. Now, currently the price of the incubator is 18 grand. We're going to raise that to 24,000 sometime this year. So at that price point, we'll need to add 20 a month at 24,000, and those two things combined give us $1 million a month. Now, as I was making this slide, I had kind of a moment. So I added this asterisk here. And the asterisk is here because I thought, I kind of like the idea of capping the number of members we serve total. What if we only ever had 120 people in there? What if we only ever let 120 active members be in there? It's just a thought. And I thought, okay, well, if we did that, we could raise the price to 36,000, make almost the same amount of money. Almost, not quite, but almost. But it would still get us to 8 figures. Just something I'm thinking about. If I was really committed to having more focus on fewer people, but giving them better results, would I do that? I've been kicking that around. That's not a decision. Don't tell my team. They'll think I'm changing the whole plan. I'm not. It's just something I was running the numbers on because we would still have an 8-figure company, but we could reduce the number of sales we make, the number of customers we have, and do a better job of serving them. I also, candidly, just like the leverage of having full groups, being at full capacity, telling people there's a waiting list, telling people you can't buy it, it's full. I like that leverage. There's a lot of peace of mind to that. There's a lot of relaxation in that, of knowing I don't have to go to my audience and pitch something. We're full. If you want to be on the waiting list, that's cool. Spots go really quickly. I like that leverage. I like being able to show up from that place and give abundantly while knowing that I don't have to sell anything. I like that leverage. I don't like the pressure of saying, gotta make another sale, gotta make another sale, gotta make another sale. I like the giving until the person can barely contain themselves and then they have to buy something eventually and they get on the wait. I like that leverage. It makes my job a lot easier. So that's the numbers. 100 at 5,800, 20 per month at 24,000. And maybe we'll reduce those numbers over time as we raise the price. Now, here's how we're going to do it. Here's how we'll get sales, how we'll get leads, and how we'll do a great job. The first is with YouTube and podcast content. It's where I shine. It's what I do best. So we have to maximize that. That means documenting our students' success stories, sharing them, editing them and cutting them and putting them into shorts and reels and clips and putting them on TikTok and using them in ads and continually doing that. Bragging on our people, making them the hero of the story and sharing about their journey. It's great for them because they get customers and PR and partnerships. It's great for us because we're bragging about the results we get. And it's actually really good content for the students who are watching or the fans who are watching. I think that's the best advertising in the world, just showing how you did a good job for your existing clients. So that's a big focus for ours moving forward. And then, of course, paid media. That's prioritizing YouTube ads to an application funnel, having them apply to join one of the groups, and then having phone sales or email follow-ups to make sure that they're the right fit and that we can help them. And when you don't need to take everybody, when you don't need to sell everybody, there's actually a higher closing rate because you're willing to say no to the people who aren't a fit. And then we'll use Facebook and TikTok for retargeting. The second part of this is, I'm so excited for this. I'm just so pumped. I'm so glad you stuck for this part of the video. We're going to start doing public raises for students. What this means is we're going to be taking students who have really cool ideas. I will sit on their board, advise them, and help them do a raise for capital. And I'm going to document the process. and go to my audience and say why I love the company. Isn't that cool? People will see a deal flow. They'll see cool ideas. The entrepreneur will get funding. Investors will see new opportunities. And people will see case studies right in front of them. This May, I'm going to launch an investor group that gets first dibs at all of the deals coming from our pipeline. Those are deals from my fund, deals from the podcast, deals from the incubator. I will curate the best opportunities, in my opinion, my subjective opinion, that I will take to investors and say, hey, this company's doing a raise. Here's why I believe in them. And the way that investors will get access to that group is they'll buy an NFT. They'll buy an NFT, which will get them access to first in line deal flow. And then if they ever want to leave the group or they don't feel like it's valuable, they'll just sell their NFT to somebody else. So it always ensures we have a full group of investors. It might go up in value for the people who are buyers of the NFT, and it's an easy sell because it's an asset rather than an expense. It's so fun. So we'll use that group to launch raises of our best students, and those become our case studies. So it becomes a machine where we just do a better job, and we get more and more, goodwill and credibility in the marketplace for doing so. And then the other thing is, just by focusing on influential customers, like people who have audiences, we'll grow naturally as a result of that. We just onboarded somebody in the incubator who her audience is bloggers. So she has 15,000 bloggers that she creates content for. She's launching a physical product brand. If we do a great job for her, guess who she's going to tell? Her 15,000 followers that all have businesses that are our ideal people. So if we put our attention on influencing the influencers, we'll get word of mouth, organic traffic, referrals. We'll get all of that just as a natural byproduct of doing a great job. And one of the things that we might do is document the growth of some internal brands. I'm working on some stuff. Don't know how it's going to go, but if it goes the way that I think it will, then we'll start documenting the growth of the brands we're building internally as well. And finally, it's just a willingness to say no. No to distractions, no to customers who aren't a fit. If we say no to the people who are not a fit, we're saying yes to the people who are, which means we do a better job, which means we have more success stories, which means we have more ads and higher conversions. So that's kind of the machine. So the end game with all this is to have a fun environment that incubates great ideas, that create abundance, that create value in the world, that make the world a better place, and bring those amazing ideas to our audience. If I'm sharing about a really cool business idea with you, you're excited to see it. It's content for you. It's an opportunity for you. It's something you can follow. I like being in that position of promoting those brands. I like being in that position. The other part of this end game is that it allows us to raise capital for them so that that business is operating from a place of abundance. They've got cash in the bank and they can focus on doing an amazing job for their customers. So if we do an amazing job for our customers, they can do an amazing job for their customers, and the world just goes round and round, getting better and better. And as a result, we'll create fun and inspirational content for everybody, all of our stakeholders, everybody who is in our audience. Now, an example of what this might look like is the following. An influencer joins the 1% with the intention of converting her audience into buyers. Sweet, we can help you do that. Then a Cap Inc. student has a brand that serves cancer patients and their families. And that's a true story. We have a student who sells products specifically to help the family members of those who are going through cancer treatment. He went through it with his family. It was a hard process, a hard time. That's his crowd. That's the people that he wants to serve. That's the people that he wants to be a hero to. And so he's building a brand around that story. Well, if we partner them up, hey, you have influence, you've got a brand, let's bring you together. We'll help you raise the capital. We document the process on Facebook and YouTube. We get you capital, we get you exposure,
mentor you through the process all the way to growth and or an exit. That's the role I want to play. That's the role where we're really good. Bringing those pieces together, bringing the network together, inspiring the ideas, and bringing the pieces together to incubate that idea. And as a result of doing that extremely well, we've got an 8-figure business. And it's a nice, profitable, consistent, predictable machine that we can then scale to $25 million a year, which is where that's my biggest goal for this business right now. And then, we'll use that capital to do more good in the world, start other businesses, and have a great time. So this is my way of solidifying the vision into an action plan for myself and my team so that we can stay focused on doing an amazing job. And throughout the growth of this YouTube channel, we'll be documenting more of this, sharing the progress, sharing student successes, highlighting the raises that we do, highlighting the businesses that we support. And if you want to follow along, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'm Ryan Daniel Moran with Capitalism.com. This was fun to make. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Talk to you soon.